You know, just to say hi. I hope everybody is doing alright. And thank you for the part that you all played in my life. Hello, everybody. Everybody, hello. How are you? Tell me, how do you do?
Hi guys, it's your girl Gypsy back with another video. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. Y'all, the election is over. Finally, oh my god. I mean, honestly, I wasn't surprised that it took that many days because I told all my friends, I was like, and my family too, I was like, don't expect the election to be done. Like, I was even surprised we got an answer by Saturday, because it's not like, oh, they're trying to tamper or anything like that, you know, hopefully anything like that matter. But because this is such a large scale, more people are voting, more people voted by mail-in votes. So of course this is a whole new, they're not used to this influx of people and everything. And the community organizers, shout out to community organizers, Stacey Abrams and her team, specifically in Georgia and other states that I unfortunately don't know the names, but if you guys know the names, drop them in the comments below, because we need to make sure we hold them down, because, you know, it's better to give energy to those who are in the community, who are directly, you know, affected by it, than, no offense, people who are in upper echelon and don't know, they don't live like us day by day. And we're not asking for, you know, like a oh, I'm so sorry for you, like a pity party. No, we need work. Put that action in, okay? Put your money where your mouth is, all right? So shout out to them. Other than that, let's get to this video, okay? Because this book here, let me just sit back. We're gonna sit back for this one. Let me tell y'all something. This book really had, you know, you're in the books where you have to sit back and you have to really like take it all in. Like, you have an internal discussion with yourself. Like, you have your own personal book club. It's like, so Jaira, on page 32, you know, when she said this and that was that. Like, no, like seriously guys, I literally had that happen to me with this book. But the book that I will be reviewing today is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. And taking this cover, let me just
We got to heat it up. Come on.
Hello, do y'all see this? I'm telling y'all, the YA covers are coming for y'all neck, and y'all ain't ready, because 2021, ooh, y'all, I look at these covers, so good. But yes, this book is by Tiffany D. Jackson, and some trigger warnings, which I love. Authors are including trigger warnings, because, you know, everyone can be affected in different ways. You never know, something that has personally affected you, that's, you know, that was written in the story, might have a negative impact on you. And the author does not want that. They don't want you to have turmoil when they're, you know, internal turmoil when you're reading the book. They want you to have a good time reading. So the trigger warnings she provided are mentions of sexual abuse, rape, assault, child abuse, kidnapping, and addiction to opioids. Also, because it seems like this, if you read the synopsis, the situation is like, oh, is she trying to pin a story like an R. Kelly situation? And she specifically says, so make sure I say this right, this book is not about R. Kelly. It's about adults who know the difference between right and wrong, because no matter where you stand on the issue, he knew better. So that, I just want to make a note of that, so don't think like, oh, this book is about R. Kelly, or she wrote this book about R. Kelly. Nothing to do with that. It's talking about how the perpetrator, woman, or can be a you know, man or woman, but in this case a man, that they knew better. So that is the point, that he knew better. Okay, so basically this book follows Enchanted Jones. Love that name, like, such a beautiful name. In the beginning of the book, she's 17. By the end of the story, she's 18. It goes back and forth. You have like a now and then sections at the like beginning of the chapters and stuff like that. What happens is she is an aspiring singer. She also likes to swim. I've always noticed stories that talk about sexual assault, child abuse, and stuff like that. The character always has a love for water. And I find that kind of spiritual, because water is something that's like, you know, known to be cleansed. It can also be something destructive. You know, water, I say, is the strongest element. So I think I always find that very, I always find it very touching. You know, it's kind of, I get it. You know, I feel that. Also, you know, water is something that anyone thinks about it, they think about like purity, they think about just, you know, just literally, you know, washing everything away. You know, so I thought that was very interesting that she, you know, included that element. But she used to live in her grandma's house. They basically were all shacked up in her maternal's grandma, and then she moved to this area that's predominantly white. She goes to predominantly white high school, private high school. Most of the kids there are pretty well off, so her and her sister Shay, who is about, I think, 13, 14, you know, are not a part of the demographic, and they're also part of this, I guess if you want to call it, community social club called Will and Willow. And pretty much, you know, you have like the upper echelon kids, you know, being a part of it and stuff like that. And she's also part of that, so, you know, you have those issues of like assimilation, you know, the kids, you know, obviously making jokes about like, oh, well, you know, you guys need to put in your dues, you guys need to pay your dues and stuff like that. I'm like, first of all, who are you talking to? Like, how is 17-year-old gonna come for me talking about your mama didn't pay your dues? Mind your business, it will be done, and if it's not, I'll take it up with whoever the adult is, not you. You still a child. Like, get in my face with that mess. Like, man, there were some times I was like enchanted, go off, girl, go off, but that was not the point of the story. So she tricks her mom in telling her that she has to swim meet, and ends up going to this music competition, kind of like, you know, American Idol, X Factor, stuff like that, voice. And it is described that she has very, you know, sonorous voice. It reverberates in your soul and stuff like that. Not saying she has a bad voice. I'm just stating what the book says. And she tries out. Unfortunately, doesn't win. But right before she's called up on stage, there's this big superstar that comes in. And it's Corey Fields. And I don't want to say any name that like might associate with it, because I'm not trying to say that particular artist who I'm comparing to has these qualities. Don't know personally. I just want to talk from the book. Okay. So he's a music superstar. His name is Corey Fields. And I just have to read this one part, because if this was an immediate red flag, and I knew this book was going to go left right after this. So basically he makes himself known backstage. She goes backstage, she doesn't get it, you know, she doesn't make it to the next round, because you're told, you know, after you sing. So she's feeling distraught. But then, you know, Corey Fields, you know, introduces himself to her. So already then, Corey Fields already made himself known. So she did not put herself in a situation, he did. Let's start there. Secondly, they're just talking, having a conversation, and she's like, oh, my mom's waiting for me. So this is where we're gonna start. So as she says, I gotta go. My mom is probably wondering where I'm at. A flash of confusion sweeps across his face. He hesitates before unattaching himself. Let me read that again. He hesitates before unattaching himself. Okay. He says, how old are you? I gulp, 17. For a long moment, his face is expressionless. Then he offers a smile. If that doesn't shoot red flags, and I'm not saying that, oh, Enchanted should have known, she should have known. In any situation, if you're meeting someone who's like an idol to you, or, you know, just any type of person who is basically a celebrity. If I was younger and I met like, who did I like back then? Jesus Christ. I was a Chris Brown fan, I'm not gonna lie. But that was before everything went down. That's like if I like Chris, no, let's do Omarion. That's like if I if I met Omarion, I was like, oh my god, Omarion. You know, you can't blame her in that situation, because she is a teenager, she's young, like she had this like, oh my god, like the flourish and stuff like that. So long story short, you know, he invites her to a show. He has, you know, deliberately, but inadvertently, you know, basically has after the show, has her parent talking to this other like artist that's in their age group, and he's talking to her. They don't notice, the parents don't notice that, you know, he puts his number on her phone, starts calling her bright eyes and stuff like that, and then down the road invites her on tour with him, basically pulling her out of school. And basically, you know, just over time, he intentionally just berates her and makes her feel down, locks her in a room. Like, I won't go into complete details, but the things that I really truly want to point out is, number one, her support system. So the support system, in my opinion, was mainly her mom and her grandmother. The reason why I don't necessarily include her father and her sister, and she does have more younger siblings, but, you know, a sister close to her age, is because her father was in a state of, you know, how do I save my daughter? He's like, how do I be a savior? And not like, oh, I want the praise and the approbation, but because men have that, you know, like that savior type of complex, like, oh, I need to save something, you know, I need to save her and stuff like that. He didn't realize, or unintentionally basically was not talking to her, because he's trying to figure out, oh, how do I be dad? Because he felt like he failed because of everything that what she went through. And she eventually did tell them what happened. I did feel it was very great that Tiffany Jackson included that she went to therapy. They didn't put her right back in school, you know, after they, you know, basically pretty much saved her from him. I really appreciate that, but I really like, you know, her mom and her grandma, because her mom and the grandma obviously, like, you know, go at her sometimes because maternal grandma and stuff like that. But she, you know, grandma came herself and was like, no, I need to talk with my daughter. I need to talk to my granddaughter. I need to know what's going on. And she wasn't making her feel small or being like, oh, you know what you did, you know, and everything. Her sister, I guess if you want to, you could possibly give her the benefit of the doubt, but because you know, she said the words that she said, it still hurts regardless. And basically she made Enchanted feel that she was basically to blame for, you know, how she's being treated at school. People don't want to talk to her. You know, people say like, oh, you know, you're trying to be a whore, you know, sorry for expletives, but you're trying to just be strung out with these adult men, you know, you should know, like, basically only persecuting Enchanted, but not the adult that came to her. And so I obviously, you know, as a reader, you're like enraged. You're like, whoa, come on. Like, she needs support. She needs love, especially from her own family and her sister, you know. So that's why I say I don't include her in the support system. She does eventually understand that what she said was wrong, but I'm just saying on a whole scale, her mom and her grandmother were there from beginning to end. So I think it was necessary because, you know, you obviously hear in the news, and I think that it's not, you know, and hear from other person's stories when they do come to the police, whether, you know, they're a big high profile person or just a regular person, you know, that something happened to them and they're reporting it, and how the police department treats the victim. You know, they always say like, oh, well, did you want it? You know, well, did you put yourself in a situation? Or they always steer the conversation to like, oh, well, you obviously had something to do with why he did what he did. No, I did not. Like, you should be helping me out, considering the fact that I'm the one who's emotionally scarred from what happened, from what I dealt with from this horrific, you know, person, like horrific ordeal, like, you know. And, you know, obviously it is very hard to read that part. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It was hard for me to read it in general because I've had, not to this scale, thankfully, but still dealt with something like this. And it was pretty, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty hard to read. I'm the type of person, I just don't like to not finish a book. So I think that's what kind of, you know, helped me persevere through the book, but also because I want to see how she ended the story. A lot of people learned a lot of lessons. Her sister learned some lessons, as in like, shut up. You see each angle as how each person is affected by the situation, basically, like that. Like how the parents are affected, like how families affected, how community, like stuff like that. But you can tell Enchanted does slowly become whole, but I believe she is still in therapy. I don't think it was like explicitly, you know, stated that she was out of therapy. But the last thing I want to touch on, because I'm like, oh my god, Jerry, like rambling, is the actual title. So when you look at it, you're thinking like, oh, grown, because if you look at this, you know, you don't necessarily think she looks 17, right? you know, not saying like, oh, everyone looks the same at 17. Like when I looked like 17, I looked like I was 14, really and truly. But some people look like 17, they look like, you know, they might be 21 or something like that. But that has nothing to do with like, oh, them, it's just genetics. Like, come on. So when I thought about it, I was like, because, you know, every author obviously deliberately, you know, chooses their title. And I think the reason why Tiffany D. Jackson chose the word grown, I did speak about this on my Instagram as well, is grown isn't used as something to be enamored about, to be, you know, praised. You know, usually when, you know, like, oh, you know, like, I'm grown, like, don't come for me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you usually use grown, you're like, oh, because I'm grown, I can do blah, 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 and stuff like that. But in this case, it's, people are calling Enchanted grown, but only as a slur. It's to berate her, it's to, you know, bring her down, it's to tear down her character, you know, it's to, you know, just make her feel abhorrent, you know? And I think that was her intention, is to show, like, really watch what you say to people, you know, how, like, when you call someone grown, what are you truly saying? What is your undertone? What are you trying to infer upon, you know? And I truly believe that was what her intention was. And Tiffany Jackson, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But that's what I got from it. Obviously, everyone has their own, you know, opinion. I hope when you read the book, please read this book. You obviously will make your own as well. When anyone was talking about her after the situation happened, because I don't want to give it away, with Corey Fields, everyone's like, oh, well, she's grown, you know, she should know she's grown. I'm like, it doesn't matter the age she is now when she's coming out with the story. It's when it happened. When it happened, she was a minor. Just because you cross the threshold over 17 in the law does not mean you're grown, okay? It just means you crossed a threshold over the law, but that does not mean you're grown. So please, I really need law officials to understand that. But I will stop rambling on and on about it. But as you can tell, this book really touched me in a lot of ways. And at the end of the book, she does provide hotlines for the National Domestic Violence Hotline, National Sexual Violence Resource Center, RAINN, which is Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, and the Me Too movement as well. I will also provide those links as well. And if you know any more links that you think will be helpful for anyone who needs to reach out and you need to get out of a situation, you're in a situation right now, please use those resources. If I can be of any help, please let me know. But I really hope you like this review. Definitely 5 out of 5 stars. I think I really forget to say that, like the 5 out, like the actual rating, like numerical rating. Sorry, 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. But Tiffany D. Jackson, absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful book. And this is my first book by her. And please purchase this book, Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. It's probably going to be in my top 5 2020 reads. I'm not even going to lie to you. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Thank you so much for supporting me. Please support those who are victims as well. Do not demean them. Do not try to ask them, are you sure? Ooh, I think I need 2 sides to the story. Because if it was you, you'll want someone to believe you the first time. Okay? All right. Love you guys. Gypsy out.